Hey guys, in this video we are going to talk about counting. Counting in chess, there are two types of counting. Um, it, it may sound very simple, but actually it is the most basic concept in chess in order to win you some games and in order to win you materials. Okay, it may sound very simple, but actually at those beginner rating ratio, we will see people are blundering their pieces a lot because they fail to count properly. Okay, there are two types of counting in chess. First type is counting the number of attacker versus the number of defender. Okay, so for example, if you do not want to lose any pieces, okay, and you are defending your piece, you need to make sure your number of the number of defender to defend the pieces on the square is equal or greater than the number of attacker by the opponent that is attacking your piece. I will go into that later. The second type of counting is on the value of the pieces. We have learned about the value of pieces. We know that rooks worth 5 points, bishop and knights worth 3 points, pawns 1 point. Okay, so now that we know about that, sometimes you may feel that rooks are very important, okay, because it is worth 5 points. But in fact, sometimes when you count again, you will see that two minor pieces of bishop and knight are called minor pieces. Queen and rooks are called major pieces. So two minor pieces is actually worth more than a rook, because 3 plus 3 is equal to 6, right? And 5 is less than 6. So in this video, we are going to do some counting, and I'm going to show you guys a few positions so that you guys can be more familiar with what I'm going to talk about. Let's have a look at this position. You can see that black is winning. Why black is winning? Because they have 3 minor pieces, a queen and 2 rooks. White has 2 minor pieces, 2 rooks and a queen. So queen and 2 rooks are the same, but it's just that they are up 1 minor pieces. So black is winning. White need to find a way to try to win some material. Okay, so in order to do that, white make this g4 move. Black gets a bit greedy. Instead of retreating back to h6, he take the pawn to d4, pawn at d4. Okay, he's taking the pawn d4, and quickly one may realize that the knight is kind of trapped, right? Because all of the square that the knight can jump are being covered here, right? Are being covered or blocked by his own piece of pawns. Okay, white tries to attack the knight. Black defend the knight. White attacking the knight again. So now there are 2 attacker, 1 defender. Black defend the knight. Now there are 2 attacker and 2 defender. So right now, if white were to take the knight, that would be a blunder, right? Because that would just be losing pieces for white. Okay, as you can see, black still have 2 rooks, and white is already losing a rook. So in this position, white shouldn't take the knight yet, and white should continue to attack the knight. So now there are 3 attacker, and there's only 2 defender, once again threatening to take the knight. Black make this move, rook to d8, to support the queen, to defend the knight. So even though the rook is being blocked by the queen, but you need to count it as a defender, because once the queen has been moved away, then the rook can come in to consolidate the knight or defend the knight. So now there are 1, 2, 3 defender, and white has 1, 2, 3 attacker. So now once again, if they were to take the knight, it will be a blunder by white, because you can see that take, and black is up of full rook. There's only one rook for white, one knight for white, and here we have one minor pieces, one bishop, and two rook for black. So black is still up material and totally winning. Let's look at another position, a very similar position, okay, whereby black is still winning because they have 3 minor pieces. Here white has only 2 minor pieces, and in order to equalize the position, once again white make this g4 move and black takes the pawn. Okay, realizing that the rook is under attack, so white make this move rook to d2 to attack the knight. Okay, so once again defending the knight, adding an attacker to take the knight. So now there are 2 attackers, 1 defender. Queen come in to defend the knight, rook come in to attack the knight, rook come in to defend the knight. So now there are 1, 2, 3 defender. White has 1, 2, 3 attacker, and white move the queen up to attack the knight, and black realized that he has no choice but to lose the knight, because the knight is now there is no more defender, there is no available defender to defend the knight. So eventually this position is being equalized, right? You can see that now there's 1 minor pieces at each side, 2 rooks, 1 queen, 1 queen. Okay, let's not take into account the pawn, because pawn are not counted as pieces. Okay, so let's look at so the previous 2 position are actually some custom position where I designed the position so that you guys can understand. If you want to attack something, you need to really attack. You need to add a lot of attacker, making sure that the attacker is more than the defender. If you want to defend, you need to make sure that the number of defender is equal or greater than the number of attacker. So let's look at some of the more real life example where it will happen in your game. So this is a very typical example, e4, e5, knights out, okay, bishop out, castle, and then pawns up. And some people really like to play pawn to d5, and that is actually blundering a pawn. Why is it blundering a pawn? Because we have to count properly that there are 2 defender, okay, 1, 2, but white has 3 attacker, 1, 2, 3. So this is just blundering a pawn, and white can proceed to take with either of whether or not he want to take with his bishop, his knight, or his pawn is up to him. Okay, I want to show you guys a real life game that I played with some strangers. This game is, I think, is 2 days ago, okay, where I'm losing. As you can see, I have 2 rooks, he have a queen and a rook, and my bishop is almost trapped. Okay, the evaluation bar actually is +9 in favor of white. Okay, so to follow the habit, I double the rook, and white make a very surprising move, rook to d1. So as I said before, if your piece is on a square, the piece is actually not controlling the square, so we have to count the attacker. There are 1, 2 attacker, and the king is the only defender, so the number of attacker is greater than the number of defender. So I proceed to take the rook, and it is a checkmate for black. Alright, so that is all for the counting part for number of attacker versus number of defender. Let's move on into the second type of counting, which is the counting the value of pieces. So we all know that like what I said before, rooks worth 5 points, minor piece worth 3 points, okay, bishop knight worth 3 points. So a very typical gameplay that you will see is after all of this, right? After normal development, e4, e5, knights out, bishop out, and then whites likes to play knight to g5. Okay, and you castle. Why you castle? Because if not, this one will really kill you, where it is a fork. Okay, so you castle, and white still persists to take the pawn. Okay, why is it want to take the pawn? Because they want your rook. So a very good move is not to move your king to h8, okay, not to hide your king, but to take the bishop. Why? Because bishop and knights, if you add it up, 3 plus 3 is equal to 6, and that's why I say that mathematics is very important here. 3 plus 3 is equal to 6. 6 is greater than 5. So trading away 2 pieces, 2 minor pieces for 1 major pieces, 1 rook, is actually very worth it. You should definitely do that. Let's look at another example. Okay, this is also a very typical example if let's say somebody play d4, d5. Alright, so white, now this is black's turn, so white just make this move, knight to b5, and of course if you look at what he's aiming at this pawn at this c7. So black kick away the knight, trying to kick away the knight. A good move by white is to take with the knight. Okay, that will be just a pawn, and of course the queen can take, but that will be just blunting with a queen, right? So 2 minor pieces for a queen is still not worth, because 3 plus 3 is equal to 6. 6 is less than 9. Queen is worth 9 points, so have to be careful of that. But instead, white takes with the bishop, and that is actually not a very good move, because black can take the knight first. Okay, the bishop then takes the rook, then the rook's coming to take the bishop. So once again, this is a 6 for 5 points trade. Okay, let's not count the pawns in, because pawns are not pieces, and this should be okay for black. 2 minor pieces is actually greater than the rook. Okay, when it comes to endgame or middle game, because a lot of tactics involving around knights or bishop, where you can actually do a fork or double attack. Let's look at the very last example of the value of pieces. So now this is black's turn. Okay, and black moving his rook to the middle. Okay, moving his rook to the middle, trying to take his queen. And a good move will be to take the rook. The rook take back, and you take back the rook. And some of you may be wondering, oh my god, you are trading away your 9 points queen for their rook. Okay, but you have to count. Rooks are worth 5 points. Okay, 2 rooks are worth 10 points. Okay, 10 points is greater than 9, and that's why it is a good trade to trade away your queen for their 2 rooks. Okay, so as you can see, I still have my rooks, my 2 rooks. I didn't trade any of my rook, so I have 10 points. He has 9 points, and this is definitely a worthy trade. So that's all for today. Thank you for watching this video. I hope this video helped you in terms of counting. Thank you, and bye bye.